So I've helped over 200 students implement what I like to call the skills ladder to start making anywhere from 3 to 5K per month in the beginning to making upwards of 20 to 50K per month when you have a lot more experience and when you're running your own business. And I got a lot of questions on my previous video in my Instagram DM inbox of people asking me like, Trevor, what actually is the skills ladder and how do you actually go about implementing it? So I'm going to dedicate this entire video to showing you guys what the skills ladder actually is. How do you go about implementing it? How much money should you be making at each level of the ladder? And how much time should you be taking to progress through each level? And just as a quick disclaimer, if you guys want me to personally coach you and mentor you through implementing the skills ladder into your life and into your business, I have a couple spots open on my calendar this week for strategy calls. So the link for that is in the description if you're interested in exploring what that could look like. But before even considering doing that, let me actually show you what the skills ladder actually looks like so you can see the behind the scenes of it. And here's just some proof that it actually works. So this was me at the final level of the skills ladder, making 18K per month, 20K per month, all that fun stuff. And as well, just as proof of like people in the beginning and students that I've worked with, because I said 200, you can kind of see these here. Gabriel landing his first appointment setting position in the complete beginning. Callum doing $12,000 in commissions for the month of October. This was actually very recent. Jared doing 5.4K in October, or actually for September rather. Judge doing 7K in commissions this month, didn't start working until the 9th, on track to rip my first 10 to 15K a month. Tegan closing his first deal as a DM setter, making money. I'll talk about what that means in a second. And Elias, boys, I just secured my first real closing position, 8 to 12K per month on track earning, but their closers right now are making way more. All of that fun stuff. So this right here is the holy grail. This is the skills ladder. And basically I have this mapped out in like a line graph so that, or a bar graph, I guess, so that you can see like each level of this. So on the bottom here, you have months, you have the time roughly, and I mapped this out into about a 1-year trajectory so you can see realistically how your income can progress over that time. I'm not saying this is going to happen because nothing in life is really guaranteed. Like it's not even guaranteed that you even wake up tomorrow, unfortunately, but this is like a rough estimate, and this is what I've seen for myself, but also some of the students that I've worked with, and how it can scale with your income. And so the first level is building your initial skill sets. The second level of the skills ladder is getting into DM appointment setting. The third level is getting into phone setting. The fourth level is learning the skill of triaging, which I'll talk about what that actually is in a second. The fifth level is closing. And then the sixth level is becoming a hybrid, or also known as a full cycle sales rep, where you're doing both closing here and some form of either phone setting or DM setting like at the same time. And this is what I was doing to make the money that you see on the screenshots here. So first things first, building your initial skill sets. I'm going to try my best to talk about like the way that you can do this for free, but then it might take a little bit more time versus the way that you can do this working with a mentor and kind of like map out both sides of it. So building initial skill sets. To start, you want to build your initial skill sets, obviously. And what you can do to build like your initial sales skill sets to start to get a good idea of like how to actually sell and getting a good baseline knowledge is you can start by reading books, watching YouTube videos about sales. This is what I'd recommend for most people before you even consider starting to make money. Build a baseline skill set for yourself so you actually kind of know what you're doing. And so you can watch videos from Alex Hormozy. You can watch videos from Jeremy Miner. These are both good examples. Start ingratiating yourself into the sales world. Start understanding sales. You can even watch videos from me, even though I cover like making money online and sales. I cover like both elements of it, but you can watch videos about this. And for this step, you can also, again, consider working with a mentor to help you build up these initial skill sets, because this will help you speed up the process, obviously. But if you're stuck on going down the route of like trying it on your own, get books, watch YouTube videos, spend your time, just absorb a ton of sales information. Your income here is going to be zero, like we just talked about, because you're not working in any position yet. So as you can see here, I can't make this line any smaller, but like this is the first half a month here. Just building your initial skill sets. You're not making money. You shouldn't even be worried about making money yet until the next level. So what I'd recommend doing is spending at least 1 to 2 hours per day consuming content, whether this is reading books, whether this is watching YouTube videos. And I would spend at least 1 to 2 hours a day practicing. So you don't just sit there and learn and don't actually put anything into practice. You learn and you practice it. So you can practice it with family members, friends. You can even use like AI to practice with AI or against AI. You can set up ChatGPT to literally practice AI sales with you. I've seen this happen a lot. There's a couple books. I have some books down here that I can show you guys that are good. Yeah, these are two good books in specific. So this right here, The New Model of Selling by Jeremy Miner. This is a good book for understanding how, like, what actually is sales and how is it developed since the 1800s, because a lot of people, when they think of sales, they're just thinking of like the Wolf of Wall Street, where you're like forcing people to buy on the call and like trying to deal with all their objections. And like, that's not necessarily how sales works anymore, because buyers have become sick of that. So the way that you do sales in 2025 is different than the way you do sales in the 1980s. So this book is a really good way and a testament of that. Another book that I got a ton of value out of is The Challenger Sale. This book helped me a ton with understanding sales and the like different styles and different techniques of sales. So there's that. Those are just like two examples. There's a million more books out there of some of the stuff that I've consumed that I think was really, really good. Now, by far the most common mistake that people make in this first step of the skills ladder is they spend too much time practicing, too much time preparing, instead of just eventually taking action and landing a role and putting that theory into use. So people spend like months consuming content over and over and over and over and over, practicing with family or friends or with AI. It's like eventually you have to get to a point where you're just going to say, fuck it. I know I'm not in the perfect position yet. I know I'm not an expert, but I just need to land a sales role, and I just need to start putting all of this theory and all this practice that I'm building into use. So usually this point, like what I'd recommend for most people is stay consistent and learn practicing for a minimum of 3 days, a maximum of 2 weeks. Somewhere in that range of 3 days to 2 weeks, practice for an hour or two, consuming content, hour or two practice. Do this for 3 days to 2 weeks, somewhere in that range, and then eventually move on to the next step of the skills ladder, which is going to be getting into DM appointment setting. So DM appointment setting, basically there's influencers on social media that have followers, they have likes, they have comments, they're selling some sort of coaching item. So like if you know TJR, this is a great example. If you know Iman Gadzhi, another great example, but like there's many more micro influencers that are making way less money that need appointment setters and DM setters, because these people don't have time to sit inside of their Instagram DM inbox all day and talk to leads and have conversations with leads and qualify leads. So essentially this is what you're going to be doing as a DM appointment setter. It's something that's relatively easy to learn, and you're not going to get paid a ton of money yet because it's relatively easy to learn, but it's a good way that you can get your foot in the door and start making some money and building your skill set over time so that you can start becoming the man that can make 20K, 50K per month, etc. So to start, you become a DM setter, and the first thing that you need to learn is how that you can land a role. Now, I've made videos on my YouTube. If you look here, I've made videos specifically that talk about like appointment setting roles. Maybe it's a different term that I use. Yeah, how to land an appointment setting position fast, 10K per month. So like you can use a video like this if you want to go down the free route. The free route is going to be harder. I'm going to forewarn that, and I'm going to say that a million times because this is just objectively how it is. But a video like this will provide you good value if you're not in a position where you can work with a mentor or investor or anything like that. First thing that you need to learn is how you can actually land a DM appointment setting role. You essentially have two choices. Option one is free. It's using Instagram outreach. You can reference this video to do that. How to land an appointment setting position fast, 10K per month. This video from me is really good. I posted it like 2-3 months ago. Really, really valuable for that. Option two costs money, but it's getting access to job opportunities, job portals, job dashboards. So if you look here, inside of the one-on-one coaching program that I run, you'll see me here and a bunch of other students that I'm working with. Basically every single person in here that has a coloring to their name is on a position making money right now. So like wins, you can see all these wins. You can pause and read all this if you want, but people popping results, people going crazy, people making money. But more importantly, like I said, with the job dashboards, job portals, I provide this for students that I work with. So job opportunities here, you can see we post setting positions, closing positions, setting positions, closing positions, DM setters for a biz scaling offer. Like this is exactly what I mean. DM setters is level 2 of the equation. 4K per month. We'll talk about what you can expect to earn as a DM setter in a second. But essentially, you need to find a way to get job opportunities like this, whether it's you doing outreach for free or whether it's you partnering with somebody like myself, learning how to make money online, sales, and getting access to job opportunities where you can apply to these people. So this is my boy Jackson here. As you can see today, we posted 16 offers for people to work with. Some of these are for people with more experience. Some of these are for people with less experience. So like based on where you're at in the skills ladder, you can find a business that's basically perfect for you. And we post anywhere from 10 to 30 of these on a daily basis. So this gives you like a fuck ton, and that can be overwhelming for some people, but this literally gives you like infinite options and an abundance of opportunities where you can pick and choose who you want to work with and reject the bad ones. So this is level 2 of DM setting. Again, option 1 is free. You use Instagram outreach. Option 2 costs money. Working with me, it does cost money working one-on-one with me, but you get access to job portals, job dashboards, and you essentially can land whatever role that you want within reason. Now, income here, this can vary based on your skill set and the role that you land. So you get paid on commission, which a lot of people get scared of, but this is actually the secret that you need to start making real money for yourself, because you want to become the man that gets paid what he actually deserves. Because in the beginning, it might be scary. It's like, oh, I might not make that much money because my skills aren't that developed. But eventually, when your skills are developed, you'll be able to make more working less. So for example, somebody at a 9-to-5 job right now, they might make 5K per month working 40 hours a week, but it doesn't matter how good they get at their job. They're still going to keep making that much money, or they'll get their little bonus or raise once in a while. But you might start making 2K per month, but as you get better and as you progress through the skills ladder, you can start making 10K, 15K, 20K per month working 40 hours a week. And you can dust all these people because it's oriented on you building skill sets. Typical DM appointment setting positions start as low as like 2K per month, and you can get as high as like 7K per month. Outside of this, it's kind of rare to land positions lower than 2K per month or even higher than 7K per month. And so basically all you're doing as a DM appointment setter is you're reaching out to new followers, following up with conversations, prioritizing speed to lead. I showed you guys my Discord with the job opportunities. The most common mistake that DM setters make is not getting on a good role. So a lot of people, what they do is they land a role and they like stay in that role forever. They stay loyal. And there's a certain degree of loyalty that is good and that everybody should have, in my opinion. But at the end of the day too, you need to understand that there are bad DM setting roles out there that'll only pay you $2,000 a month. And a lot of people, what they do is they try and ride it out with that business and hope it gets better instead of just constantly looking for better and more opportunities. So there's like a spectrum of that, where some people aren't loyal at all and they're constantly just focused on money. Other people are too loyal where they're not focused on money enough, and you need to be in the middle there. So your goal with DM setting of level 2 before progressing into level 3 is to get to at least 3K per month as a DM setter before you even consider moving into level 3 of the skills ladder. And so like we show here, DM setting, usually this is like month 0.5 to month like 2.5, where you're like rinsing this. And this can go a little bit further, obviously. It just depends on how fast you learn things and how fast you progress through this. But this is like a 1-year timeline. You could even stretch this out to a 2-year timeline, and you could just make these twice as long. So if you're in a DM setting position, maybe you've done it through outreach on Instagram using my videos. Maybe you've partnered with me as a one-on-one student, working with me, learning skills under me, and getting access to job opportunities through me. And you're at a point where you're making 3K per month, then you can consider advancing into level 3 of the skills ladder, which is doing phone setting. Phone setting, it's a similar process of being a DM appointment setter. You're having conversations with leads and you're qualifying leads and you're booking in calls with leads that are serious, that are looking to invest, et cetera, et cetera. However, with this, there might be potential to move into phone setting in the same business that you were working in as a DM setter. So this is something to consider. You might land a position as a DM setter. You might have an opportunity to become a phone setter inside of that same business. That's always something that you want to keep in the back of your mind. Now, with phone setting, income here can vary a lot because it's based on your skill set and it's based on the skill or the role that you land. But usually a good rule of thumb is whatever you can expect to make as a DM appointment setter, you can usually expect to make just a little bit more as a phone setter. Reason being is because as a phone setter, now you're actually talking to leads over the phone. So you're not DMing leads. You're not logging into influencers' Instagram accounts and managing their DM inbox. Now You're actually calling leads, and it's you speaking, and it's you having the conversation. And so it increases the difficulty, but therefore it also pays you more. And so you can kind of like progress through that. This is the skills ladder. The deeper and deeper you go down the skills ladder, the less and less competition there will be, because it's going to get harder and harder, but you'll build more skill sets over time. Basically, all you're going to be doing is you're going to be calling new leads that either opted into some sort of free training, some sort of community, some sort of course, like a free course, for example. People opt into free courses. You enter your name, email, phone number, and then a phone setter calls you, tries to book you in to their high ticket program. And you follow a similar process to DM appointment setting. Discord here, phone setting positions. Like if I just show you, if we look here, like there's tons of phone setting. Notes, phone setting experience, phone setting, 3K per month, phone setters, like, yeah. And most of the businesses that say setters as well, they're implying phone setting, unless they specifically say DM setting. So that's just something to know. Now, common mistakes of phone setters. It's kind of the same thing of like DM setting. It's just there's extra variables too. So again, the same thing with like the loyalty that I talked about earlier that can happen with phone setters. Another thing though is not being able to actually deal with objections. So this is something that you actually need to get good at this level, because when you're a phone setter or when you're a DM setter, you can just be like super slow to react. If somebody has a question or a problem or a concern in the DMs, like you can think about what they said and then you can respond like 3 minutes later. When you're a phone setter, you gotta work on the fly. So this is actually going to force you to get really, really good. This is going to force you to get good at speaking. This is going to force you to actually know your shit. And as a byproduct, you can usually start making pretty good money with this. Now, at this point, you're starting to get into like full-time income type of territory, in my opinion. So your goal as a phone setter, in my opinion, before you consider moving on into level 4, is get to 5K per month. Get to 5K per month as a phone setter. Figure out a way. Get on a good enough offer. Build your skill set over time. This is going to take you some time, but at the end of the day, you're building skills. You're becoming the man. Get to 5K per month either as a DM setter or a phone setter before you even consider moving into level 4, which is triaging. So like I showed you here, move from DM setting potentially to phone setting. Low is like 3K per month in like a beginner friendly offer. High is like 8K per month in a really, really dialed in offer. Then we look at moving on into level 4, which is triaging. And this is way shorter because it's something that you can pick up pretty quickly if you've done phone setting. So DM setting, phone setting, this is going to take you some time. This is going to take you a couple months progressing through this, but they're really, really good for building your skill sets. Triaging. Triaging is level 4 of the skills ladder. Now, triaging is going to be very, 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 very easy for you if you've actually gone through phone setting. The jump from DM setting and phone setting can be pretty scary. The jump from building skill sets to DM setting or building skill sets to phone setting can be a little bit scary. But when you know your shit with phone setting, jumping from phone setting to triaging is going to be really, really easy, because it's essentially the same thing as phone setting, but instead of setting the appointment, you're confirming an appointment that was already booked in to make sure that that appointment is qualified. So instead of actually setting appointments as an appointment setter, all you have to do is call leads that have already booked an appointment and just make sure that they're actually qualified for the offer that you guys sell. So it's super, super chill. These people have already booked a call. Your goal is just to basically not fuck it up. So this is something that you can tack on to your appointment setting income. Usually this is what I see as like a super, super common thing. So guys that I work with, they start making anywhere from 3 to 8K per month, either as DM setters or phone setters. And what they do then is they start tacking on becoming a triager inside of the same business that they're working in. They usually can up their commission a little bit higher. So they can start going from making 5K per month as an example to making 7.5K per month by doing appointment setting plus triaging. Basically, all you're going to be doing is you're going to be call confirming scheduled appointments for about an hour or two a day, confirming that they're qualified and sending them resources prior to their call with the closer. Pretty straightforward to do, especially once you understand phone setting and you get really, really good at it. I have a triage script. I don't think I made a video on it, but it's pretty straightforward. I think I actually maybe have made a YouTube video on it. If you guys want to see it though, I'm cool with making videos on whatever you guys need. That's the whole goal with this YouTube channel, is just giving you guys all the sauce for free. And then if you guys want to work with me, you can. But if you don't, I don't really care. So yeah. Now, common mistakes. A lot of people like this is pretty much the only mistake that you can make is you start triaging leads that have already booked a call, and all you're trying to do is qualify them to make sure that they're going to show up to their call and that they're actually going to buy. What people can do though is if you have I don't like a lot of people just fuck up the reputation for the business. So your goal is to just it's literally your goal with level 4 is just to not fuck it up. It's really easy. This can happen. It's just very rare. Your goal with triaging is to start making 5K per month with setting, start doing some triaging to get some reps, get some real world experience. And then once you do some triaging, you can move on into level 5, which is closing. Now, the jump from triaging, that's a terrible 5. The jump from triaging into closing is probably the biggest jump on the skills ladder. I'll be honest. But it's the jump that's going to challenge you the most. And a lot of people don't get to this level because they're not willing to make that jump. So if you are, that means way less competition for you. It means way more money for you. The deeper and deeper you go down this ladder, the harder it is, but the more money you make. And this should excite you as a man. Now, closing. Closing is a completely different skill set. If you become good at closing over the phone and Zoom, you will never, you can mark my words, you can clip this, you can save this in your phone. If you master the skill of closing and you get good at it, you will never be broke ever again. You will always have a business that you can sell for. You will always have some way that you can make money because you understand closing. This is a foundational skill set that will be forever valuable. It's one of the best things that you can ever learn in life is learning how to actually do closing over the phone. So this was me taking one of my first ever sales calls. I have this Zoom call on my computer. I'm not going to share it with you guys, but I was selling this person, Abby here, $4,000, an offer teaching her how to run Instagram ads. That's the business that I was selling for. As you can see here, I had glasses on. I didn't have a haircut in probably a couple months. I was living in my parents' basement. You can literally see the tiles on the roof. My bed is in my background. I would literally wake up, roll out of bed, sit on my computer right here, take Zoom calls a couple hours every single day. And the irony is that in this position, a lot of people would have called me stupid. They would have said, why are you doing this? Why are you qualified to sell expensive items to people that are way older than you? But the irony is that I was making 10K or more per month, which is top 10% of income earners. So you can get fucked. No, but the point I'm trying to make is it might seem intimidating, it might seem scary, and you will be pretty shit for your first couple calls, but it's something that you can build over time. It's something that you can get better at. The more you do it, the more reps you take. And for me now, I've taken over 1,000 sales calls at this point. If I look back on my old ones, I'm just I can barely even watch them without wanting to off myself. But at the end of the day, that's just what you need to do. That's just what you need to go through to become the man where you can start making really good money. In the beginning, my first 6 calls, I didn't close a single deal. And I was pissed off. You just have to keep going. You just have to keep pushing. Transitioning to closing means that most likely you're going to completely give up appointment setting. And you're going to go all in on closing or maybe triaging. So you might do triaging plus closing. This is a super common combination. Usually for this though, you're giving up appointment setting and you're going all in on closing. So your income here is usually anywhere from 6K per month to 15K per month, depending on the role that you land and depending on how good you are right out of the gate. It's going to take you time. So don't be surprised if you're not making that great of money yet. But again, see the long-term vision with the skills ladder. Understand that if you keep showing up every day, keep getting better, keep if all you think about every single day is just getting better, you will get to the point where you're just making a fuck ton of money. This is just how the world works. So what does your day-to-day as a closer usually actually look like? Well, it's usually 4 to 6 1-hour calls every single day. And what a lot of businesses do, this was the case for the business that I worked with. We did a 45-minute Zoom call and we had a 15-minute buffer after the call. So we could take a little break, reset, and then take the next call. It wasn't all directly back to back to back to back. But for me, like when I was sitting inside of my parents' basement here, this was after I finished my first year of college and decided to drop out. I was taking about 4 to 6 Zoom calls every single day. I also did a little bit of appointment setting still on the side, which is what I'm actually going to talk about next. And then I would work out like once or twice a day, 5 or 6 times a week. It's pretty much every day. This is what it looked like. Sales script. I've made videos about my sales script. You can watch that on my channel. Common mistakes people make here are not learning how to pre-handle objections, fearing rejection, not being aggressive enough at the end of the call, having to rely on a script without actually listening to what the prospect is saying. These are all things that you get better at over time. These are super, super common though. A lot of people, what they do is they don't understand the right questions to ask on a sales call. So then they get a ton of objections at the end of the sales call. A lot of people too, they fear rejection. So they're not actually prying too hard into people and asking them deep, deep questions because they're scared that the person's going to leave the call, or they're scared that the person's going to badmouth them. So fearing rejection. A lot of people just aren't aggressive enough at the end of the call. So let's say you do everything right. You get to the end of the call, you get some objections. At the end of the day, if the thing that you're selling actually changes people's lives and it's actually good, it is your duty to sell that person. If it's shit, it's not your duty, and you should get on a business that actually sells something good. But if you're working inside of a business that actually sells something that changes lives and actually helps people, it is your duty to sell the person on the call. So you should be aggressive. And a lot of people as well, what they do is they have to rely on a script. So they're like talking to the prospect, they're looking at them, and then they're looking down at a script, they're looking up, they're looking down, they're looking up, and it's so obvious. And a lot of people immediately when they see that on a sales call, they're not going to pay you any money at all. So it's pretty hard, and it's something that you get better at over time. You practice a ton, you get better, you throw yourself into the fire, maybe you fuck it up. This is the skills ladder. This is the beauty of it. Worst case scenario, you go back to level 4, level 3, get some more experience with that, crack at it again later on. Your goal with level 5 before you consider moving into level 6 is getting on a solidified closing position, rinsing it for at least a couple weeks, proving that you're good, starting to make good money for yourself before you consider even adding more to your plate, which is what we do at level 6. Level 6 is becoming a hybrid. Now, this is where you do closing here at level 5 and either phone setting or DM setting, one of the two, both at the same time. This is what's called a full cycle sales rep. This is also known as, what people also call it is hybrid, or they call it like, I forgot the name for it. Hybrid, full cycle sales rep, most common things. Now, imaginably, this requires a lot of work, but it's going to get you really fucking good. And so at the end of the day, it's all about what you care about, what you prioritize. And so for me, when I dropped out of college, I had to make shit happen. I had to make shit work. I had to make money for myself. I had to move out of my parents' house. I was going to do everything that it possibly took to make it happen. And that's exactly what I did. With the amount of work required to be successful as a hybrid, anything less than making 10K per month literally just isn't worth it because you're basically working 2 full-time jobs at this point. So if you're working as a hybrid and you're not making 10K per month, dude, not worth it. Don't even do it. It's not worth it. Basically what your day is going to look like, and this is what I was doing here, 4 to 6 sales calls a day, 45, 15 buffers and stuff like that. When not on sales calls, you're setting sales calls. So literally you wake up, like this is a day in my life when I was a hybrid, and I did this for about 1.5 years before I transitioned into like management and running my own business and stuff like that. So like I sat in this for a while and I got really, really good. I would wake up, I would pray, I would go to the gym. So I would either lift or I would do some sort of cardio like swimming or running. I'd get back, shower up, all that stuff, get ready. At 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, I would start my day of 4 to 6 sales calls. Sometimes they would be segmented in kind of weird ways. So sometimes I would have a call at 10 and then a call at 12 and then a call at 2 and then a call at 5, 6, and 7 or something like that. So it's kind of like a sporadic schedule. And so what I would do is I would take about 4 to 6 calls a day. In between those calls, in the segments that I had free, I'm jumping back on the Instagram DMs. I was a DM setter as well, and I'm booking more calls. And like, it's fun because you get to be fully responsible for an entire sales process inside of a business. And a lot of people get scared of this, but like when you're responsible for this much value inside of a business, you get paid a fuck ton, especially when you're good. and you can get good. So that's the beauty. At this point, you have the skills. The biggest mistake is just not being productive enough. A lot of people, what they do, they have the skill of being a closer because you wouldn't be at level 6 unless you went through level 5. You definitely have the skill of a phone setter or a DM setter. A lot of people, what they do is they're just too lazy. They still are doing bad habits. They're still jacking off. They're still doing drugs. They're still partying on the weekends. They're still doing all of this stuff that is going to make you less optimal as a human being. So as a byproduct, they suffer and they're not able to actually sustain this. I was able to sustain this for about a year and a half because I was locked the fuck in. And I probably could have sustained it for more, but eventually it's just too much work for a long time. But nonetheless, I mean, I run my own business now and I probably work the same amount. So it's like, I just wanted to make more money and work the same hours. But at the end of the day, I could have sat in this for a long time. And if I ever had to, my business like somehow got fucked up, I would just do this again, dude. This is the beauty. This is your backup plan. Your job, your degree, your college. Nah, this is your backup plan. Going back to DM setting, making $5,000 a month. That's your other backup plan. Phone setting, that's your other backup plan. So hopefully this video was insightful. Hopefully I was able to show you guys like what actually is the skills ladder and how does it actually work and what do I recommend for a complete beginner advancing through the entire process. Now maybe you watch this video and you're a complete beginner. I'm going to guess most of you guys are, but maybe you've watched this and you're like somewhere between these. If you're at any of these levels, I can help you advance through this process because I've gone through it myself and I've helped students go through it as well. So any problem that you're facing, I've most likely encountered it, or even if I haven't, I've helped a student overcome it already. So that's the beauty of the skills ladder, and that's the beauty as well of working with me. And so what I want to take the last couple of minutes to talk about is how I help people one-on-one implement everything. So like I kind of showed you in the skills ladder, the first thing that I do is I teach you in the initial skill sets of appointment setting, of DM setting, of phone setting, of closing, so that you actually start to understand this. And maybe you're not an expert yet, but you at least know enough to where you can go into a business and actually start making money. Then we place you inside of these businesses here that I was showing you earlier that are constantly hiring. Some of these are hiring for experienced people, so you're not going to be able to work these, but some of them are hiring for complete beginners. And I show you how you can go in and crush it inside of these businesses. And then once you land a position, then I'm going to work with you to help you get better. So if you land a DM setting position and you're advancing into level 2, I'm going to help you review your conversations. I'm going to give you insight on what you could be doing better so that you can get better. You can start making more money. Same thing at every level of the process. So if you fuck with me, if you want to work with me, I open up some time on my calendar for this week for calls. So you can book a strategy call with me. You and I can talk a little bit more about how I can help you. If you're a little bit too nervous to do that or to book a call, or you want to know what it costs or anything like that, then what you can do is you can DM me on Instagram and you and I can talk a little bit more about what that looks like and how I could potentially help you out. But hopefully this video was insightful and hopefully I gave you guys some good value. And like, if I'm being honest, you could go through this entire process completely for free. It's just going to take a lot more time. And so at the end of the day, it's like, what do you value? Do you value time or do you value money? And for a lot of people, you're going to say you value money, but I would challenge you on that and saying that you don't even know if you're going to wake up tomorrow. If I had a deal for you right now and I said, I'm going to pay you $10 million, but you can't wake up tomorrow, are you going to take that deal? No, you're not. It's not worth it. And so what that shows you is that even just one day of living life is more valuable than $10 million. So if you're somebody that's like, I want to try this on my own, or I want to do this without help, I would challenge you on that. And maybe you can try it a little bit and realize that it's not going to be easy and it's going to take you a lot more time. But if something's going to take you 5 years of doing it on your own versus something that's going to take you 1 year of doing it with help, but that help costed you a couple $1,000s, what option are you going to take? You could take the 5-year option, but just realize that you're just going to be putting off the inevitable for more time. Whereas you can start making money now in a much more shorter time. I've worked with mentors and this is the exact thing that I've experienced personally. And like, yes, sure, I have had some bad experiences. I've invested in some bad programs and that's just the reality sometimes. Just like anything, you might go to a bad restaurant. You might have a shitty experience there. You might go to an amazing one. You don't really know. And so at the end of the day, what I do with the one-on-one program and what I do with the skills ladder, I've done this with the intention. I've invested over $100,000 into different courses, coaching programs. So I've tried my best to create the best possible product for helping young guys implement the skills ladder and actually start changing their life. So if you're interested in exploring what that would look like, again, book a call. You and I can talk a little bit more about how I can help you. If you want to go down the free route, good luck. It's going to take you a lot more time. You can still do it for sure. It's just going to take you more time. So yeah, you guys take care and have a fantastic rest of your day, okay? Peace.